Hey everybody, it's Imran here with escapeyourdeskjob.com, and I got Navid Moazzez on the line, and he's going to tell you all about virtual summits. Navid, thanks for coming out, buddy.
Thanks so much for having me. I mean, it's been great following you and how we connected when you did your summit as well. So it's gonna be great to talk to your audience a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us where you are, your age and all that kind of stuff, and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I mean, I live in Barcelona right now. I've been kind of traveling and living abroad for the last almost 1.5 years now since kind of my business took off. With after I did my first virtual summit, my age, I'm 29, about to turn 30. It's 2016, so whenever you're watching this, might have aged a little bit, but yeah, I'm almost 30 now. Was a long journey to get to this point though, like where I am. I mean, I started out with kind of law school and the traditional route, and then I found a little bit more my path with personal development, starting kind of getting into business more. That was a few years ago. And, something horrible happened, in my life and to my whole family when my younger brother, only 22 years old at the time, he passed away, and, it was just unfortunate because we didn't expect it. Like, that was just so sudden. And I've been procrastinating a long time up until this point to kind of do something about my life, to start a business. And then you get this kind of horrible, phone call from your mom, whatever, and that he's not with us anymore. And I'm like, really? I have been, what's my excuse really to not do anything? So then I really decided to just get out of my comfort zone more, and made this commitment to myself, to my family, and to my brother that I would make it happen eventually. And I knew it would be a lot of hard work. I had no experience when I started out, and then that was in April 2013 when he passed away. And then June 2013, I started my blog, navidmoazzez.com, started interviewing people, just like the first one was with Pat Flynn, no experience at the time, documented my journey, started a podcast afterwards. And I thought that would take my business to another level. That was, good for the relationship building, but I wasn't growing my email list. I didn't generate a lot of cash flow in my business. And then I stumbled across, these virtual summits, which kind of, could be to some extent similar to a podcast, where you interview people, but it's more like on steroids. It has higher perceived value, and, bring multiple experts on, like 20, 30 experts or so. That's kind of what I saw a lot in the health and fitness industry. And I was very compelled. They were doing 6 and 7 figures by actually offering this for free initially to sign up for. And I was like, I have to figure it out. I have to go all in and make it work for me and in my industry. So that's kind of the version how I got to this point a little bit.
So let's take it back for a second. You said to me in an earlier talk that we had that you originally got into it because of Tim Ferriss's book, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That was a personal development, and then one thing led to another, and I found Tim Ferriss' book. I found a lot of actually friends I've been hanging out with it a little bit. I found that community, and I didn't ask them really how did he do it, but I also read Tim Ferriss' book, but it was very overwhelming. I think it was in 2011 or so, I actually read his book, but you can see how long it took after that till I actually took action in 2013 when I started my website. And in 2013, it was far from a business. It was just like starting out, learning everything. And then, with the summit late 2014, things, kicked off for me for real.
Yeah, I think it takes a second to believe you can get out there and really do it. And I think it takes some sort of shift in your life. You said that it was, what happened in your family. And I think that's what, even for me, set me off on other stuff as well, is that, life change. I got let go and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely makes a difference. How did you, I think people want to know, how did you book Pat Flynn when you first started out? Because that's kind of a big deal.
Totally. I mean, I looked for an opportunity because he was having this book coming out, Let Go. I think it was his first book for his smart passive income brand. And I was like, okay, how can I reach out to him? I had no blog at the time, but he was actually inviting people from his audience to interview him. I'm not sure if he said yes to everyone, but he was still inviting people even though they had no audience. And I looked for this opportunity. How can I help him out? He didn't really ask me too many questions about hey, what's your audience size and all that. But I still had this fear. What if he doesn't get back to me? What if he says no? But I still faced this fear. I just reached out to him. He got back to me within a few minutes. We booked a call, and that's, kind of, yes, now I got him. But then I have the next problem to figure out: how do you set up how do you record a Skype interview? I had never done that before, and I'm not sure if this was the best first one. I mean, I tried to figure out Ecamm call recorder quickly because the interview was like in the next 2 days or so. So I didn't have a long time to do it. But I still did it. Published this first blog post, and a lot of people enjoyed it. I mean, if I go back and look at this interview, the value is good, but it makes me cringe to kind of watch me interview Pat Flynn still. If I did it today, it would be so much better. And I hope to, get him back on for a summit or an interview in the future, so I can just this started it all, and now I'm here. Now I can talk about this and interview him again.
Nice. And you said, like, even though you did podcasts, you weren't really seeing any growth, and that kind of got you into summits. And you said because of the healthcare industry, you saw a lot of summits going on. And how did you apply it to your first one? Was about branding, correct?
Yeah. So I saw a lot of health summits. They were doing great, like Sean Croxton and a lot of other people, they were doing it. And I had been talking quite a bit about, personal branding on my blog. And now that I'm looking back to what I was doing there, it's kind of broad, it's kind of general topic. Like, there's so many personal branding consultants. And now it's just, I guess I was a little bit lucky that people started asking me questions: how did you put on this summit? But I actually decided to learn this skill. There were no courses out there on how to create, promote, and profit from virtual summits. So I really had to re-engineer what other people did. I had to sign up for their summits. I had to, kind of swipe their landing pages, their copy. Like, I have to see what they were doing and make it work for what I was doing. And obviously after that, people started asking me, since my first summit looked very professional, like I've been doing it for years. And, I got also great results from it, from, pretty much just having an email list of, I think it was 900 to 1,000 people before the summit. It was an okay engagement, I would say, from the list. But after the summit, it just skyrocketed. I got 3,000 people sign up for this branding summit I did, and $20,000 in profit from this first summit. And that's really people starting asking me these questions: how do you get speakers? How do you, set up the tech? All these questions. And that was the aha moment that I thought, okay, now I have people in my audience coming to me and they want a solution to their problem. They want to create these online events, and I have to offer it to them. So that's kind of how I, position myself more in that space.
So you said you had 900 people before you started, and then you launched up to 3,000. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I had 900 about on my list, and then I did the branding summit. I had almost 3,000 people sign up. So it's kind of a growth there. So I think afterwards, with opt-ins and all that, I had around 3,600 people on my list after, everything was over. And I kind of, calculated this, and the $20,000 in profit. And that really enabled me, after a lot of struggle, 18 months of hard work leading up to this, quit my job and move abroad. So that's really what took my business to the next level. I mean, that was a pivotal moment in my entrepreneurial career.
Right. So a couple questions for you. First of all, why summits? What stands out from why do a summit versus anything else online right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of concerns. There's podcasts out there. There's so many blogs. There's so many. How many webinars do you get pitched every week? And then I occasionally get this question. Now we're getting a lot more summits too. But doesn't compare to like how many blogs and podcasts are out there. So I actually read in convinceandconvert.com, one of the biggest content marketing websites in the world. They're saying it's actually the most underrated marketing tactic that's available to you today, to entrepreneurs today. And, a lot of people, they are doing this extremely well too. You don't have to be this expert either to start with this. Yes, there's a lot of experts and, big brands doing it, like Michael Hyatt did it, for example. Lewis Howes did a summit to kind of get his book out there more. And you have these health summits, they're doing it well. They're getting a lot of signups. You have every niche imaginable, like cinematography. He's getting 50,000 signups for every summit he does on an annual basis. So, yes, it works for these brands, but at the same time, it works when you're not an expert, because you can brand yourself by association. You can get those experts to say yes to come on board on your summit. And then even if you feel that, okay, I'm not an expert yet, you can learn a lot from them and then share that with an audience. I think that's what stands out the most to kind of new people, other than, okay, the obvious benefits, growing your email list and generating some revenue. That's great. But what about this, that you don't really see, that you position yourself next to whatever industry you're in, next to Neil Patel, next to John Lee Dumas, or in your industry, maybe it would be, the best dog training expert. It could be like that, and you have them on there and they share their message, and you spread the value with your audience, and you build great relationships with the speakers, and maybe you have some other partners on board promoting it. And then afterwards you can create these rewarding partnerships, so you can partner up, promote each other, help each other out. That's how you grow your business moving forward.
Yeah, I can concur. Like the same thing for me. I had no experience with presentation design, and I brought all the experts in, and it's something I was associated with these people that were leading the way in that industry. And like I said, I had no list going in. I did 15,000 in revenues, so I've seen the power of summits myself. I want to ask you, for your first summit, the branding one, how long did it take you to set up, and how long are you seeing your students taking to set up their courses, or their summits? Sorry.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So for my first one, I had to figure it out. So you can and I had 88 speakers for my first one. So I didn't have a system for that. It was just crazy. I had 88 speakers. It kind of went a little bit overboard. And I think up until this point, I was kind of the the most speakers I've ever seen on a summit. Then my friends Tom Moazzez and Josh, they did the Authority Super Summit. They had over 100 speakers, but you don't have to do even close to that. You did, I think, six speakers. Yeah, that's, if you're in a small niche, like for example, SlideShare is not the biggest one, you can do just maybe up to 10 speakers, if that makes sense. But if you're, let's say there's a lot of summits in your industry, you want to make it maybe stand out a little bit more, I mean, do a few more, but between 20 and 50 speakers can work if you structure it the right way, I think. And when you get back to your question, how long does it take to set up? That depends a little bit. For my first one, it took me, I think I started around June. I launched in November, but imagine I had to spend, all this time figuring it out too. I had to, that's what I didn't have. I didn't have a proven framework to follow that I have developed now. For my students, I would say I'm seeing anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 months. Depends what their skill level is. I don't want to say, hey, you're gonna do a summit in 1 month. That's usually doesn't work too well. You're gonna have more impact. Your summit's gonna impact more people if you just focus on doing it the right way. You're you're gonna have a good design of your summit. It's gonna stand out to the speakers. You're gonna position them in a good way. You're gonna promote it, because maybe if you want to you did a lot of guest posting and all that, you have to start this process early, and then you can have a big impact. What's honestly if 2-3 months, maybe 4 months to you, if you can grow your business a lot by doing this, build these relationships, that's pretty short time considering what you're also learning from this experience, setting up affiliate program. You're doing a lot of things that you actually can have use of in your business moving forward as well.
And how did you book your first speaker, and then how did you book the rest of the 87 speakers for that first summit? I think people always struggle with figuring out, how do I get people that are experts to come talk with me?
Yeah, that's one of the most common questions I get as well. How do you get them on board? Do you pay them? Actually, I don't pay the speakers, so then we get that out of the way. And how do you get them on board then? So you don't pay them. I do something what I call kind of the ladder strategy. It's starting with people and then working yourself up. So if you have people in your network, you start with them, because it's much easier to get them to say yes or refer you to someone else. So that's the first thing I would do to get speakers to say yes. And also, obviously, thinking about how can I make it a win-win for them? Maybe, letting them have their lead magnet, promote that in the interview, or put that below the interview on that page. So they can, your summit attendees, they can click through, so they get some opt-ins, they get some benefits from actually speaking on your summit. Maybe if you have a big summit, you can say, okay, I'm getting 10,000 to 30,000 people sign up. Or simply, you shouldn't lie about your numbers, but you can say, hey, I'm having a few thousand people sign up. That's also something you can say in the emails, to have some social proof. And as you're getting people to say yes, you include the names of some speakers in the email. And then it's much easier to get people to say yes. So you have this initial social proof, and then just getting, it's a snowball effect. And the
Right.
last tip around this, if you want to really stand out, is video invitations. I mean, I've seen this, how powerful this is for my students. And if you can do this, just a short 1-2 minute video, it can really, you will really stand out in their eyes. And also, think about it this way: it's a long-term approach. So you start building the relationship, maybe, right when you're starting planning your summit, you got to start building a relationship, or even before that. If you've been in the business for, a few years, you got to start this process, quite a few months before, because if you're a nobody, yes, they might say yes, but it's a relationship. So how do you get them to promote the summit? It's a relationship. You have to be willing to, ask them, and they have to like you in order to promote you to their email list, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just approached Eugene first, and he was my first speaker, and I just cold emailed him. And you'd be surprised, people are actually pretty open to this kind of stuff. And then from there, I just got his network involved and brought his network in already. He already had that existing network, right? So I think you just have to do a ladder strategy, like you said, build it up one by one.
And you partnered with him too, right? So kind of, you built this partnership. So that's what I'm talking about too. You start reaching out. People get really interested. If you have a great topic, obviously the most important thing on your summit is really the content, and then everything kind of, takes care of itself a little bit. I'm not saying everyone will promote your first summit, especially if you have some big names, you might not get all of them promote. That's why it's good to have a mix of speakers. So you can, build this relationship and, communicate with them, get them to spread the word. I don't require my speakers to promote, but I do ask them, and I do provide all the things they need in order to promote. So they make it very easy for them, and being clear, especially like busy people, man. Like, how it is. Like, you forget something, you tell, okay, promote this or that date. Be clear, specific. I think that works a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first summit, you made $15,000. Were you like, holy shit, this is amazing?
Actually, like 20,000 in profits. I think it was a little bit more. So I did that from the All Access Pass, and also sold kind of the pilot version of, my course, which is Virtual Summit Mastery now. But that's also a good way to kind of, launch something. I didn't have this product, like to sell before the summit, but I listened to my audience. I got this feedback that they wanted this. And then I made like a few thousand, of this before I even created, spent any time on it. And then, did a lot bigger launches in 2015, and just scaling this up because, I have now, the case studies and all this. And something else, like if you're more, maybe you have a 6-figure business, maybe you have an online course like Chandler Bolt, for example. We did 30,000, almost 30,000 opt-ins for the summit, which was just massive. But at the same time, we wanted to maximize the revenue. So we had the All Access Pass, but at the end of the summit, we also sold this high-end course. So that really, took things to a whole nother level. So we got about $370,000 in revenue from that. That was with the All Access Pass and the promotion we did for his course, and obviously a lot more later. You have to think about it in, as I talked about, the long-term approach, the lifetime value of the customer, or the opt-in. They might not purchase right away, but maybe they will 6 months or a year from now. And that's what happened to Chandler. Now I think they have over 100,000 subscribers on their email list. I mean, with ads, and a lot of the partners that promoted his self-publishing success summit, they're now promoting his course because they saw so much success with promoting the summit. And they have $1 million business that just went very quickly, actually, from July 2015, and now we're in April 2016. So
it's 30,000 opt-ins plus 370,000 in revenue.
Yeah, from the summit itself. Before that, so give you some perspective, he had around 12,000 opt-ins, and they had gotten that from his book. So he was a best-selling author. He was generating that, and he had about, from January to June of 2015, they did 300,000 in revenue. So you can just see, just in the month of July alone, when we did the summit, they did 370,000, and then obviously a lot more after that. Now they have $1 million business. So it went very, very quickly.
Awesome. So I guess he just leveraged a lot of his speakers, audiences, and brought them all in. And that's the real power of the summits themselves, correct?
Yeah, it's the rewarding partnerships. Like, you have to, even if someone doesn't promote the first time around, you continue to build that relationship because it might not fit their schedule the first time or whatever, so that's what I've done. I've had people, they might not have promoted the first time, but then I just continue to build a relationship, and they saw I was doing cool things because the content was still good. The content was really good on my first summit, and then they reach out, then we build this relationship, maybe do JV partnerships, maybe do these workshops, to another audience. It just leverage the momentum afterwards, get featured on bigger publications and so on.
Yeah.
It's just what you do with it. If you just sit around after your summit, and if I would have done that, I wouldn't be here today. I mean, I made pretty decent money for doing a first summit, but it's not like if wasn't really this 6-figure business right after, but I did leverage the email list I built. So I became Ramit Sethi's #1 affiliate after the summit. So I made $40,000 the month after, in January of 2015, just by promoting him, leveraging the email list I built up, and becoming pretty much friends with Ramit, because I became his #1 affiliate. So got to meet him, and then becoming #1 affiliate for a lot of other promotions too, by just having a really engaged email list.
So let's talk about that. How did you get into being affiliates and selling other people's courses before we get into your actual course that we talk about
Sure.
now?
Yeah,
I want to know, like, how did you take it to the next step, next level?
Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit even before I did my first summit. I started slowly, but I didn't really promote too much. And I think it's important to note when it comes to affiliate promotions that you don't promote. If you have a course on the topic, why should you promote the same thing, or maybe promote the same affiliate product? They have similar ones. Don't do that. Promote something that complements what you're doing, and don't promote the same, like competing affiliate products, if you know what I mean. Like if you promote one online business course, in my case that would be Ramit Sethi, and then I promote another online business course, then my audience don't know really what to trust. I think that's really important. So let's say I promoted Ramit. I did really well promoting him, got in there. I actually built a relationship first with his team, because he's very selective with who he kind of says yes to be a partner for their affiliate program. So I built a relationship with his team, interviewed some of his students even before. I didn't really care. And then they reached out to me, and I became an affiliate. And after my summit, they reached back out because they had a promotion coming up, and I promoted it. I didn't really expect too much because I had just moved abroad. I was in Mexico. Actually, I was, enjoying the life a little bit after so much work. I didn't have a vacation for like 2-3 years, and I really needed a break. And then I was in Cabo. I sent a few emails to my list, and made a lot of money for doing that, because I had built this trust with my list. It was not spammy or anything like that. It was just like authentic, because I had also spent $2,000 on Ramit's program. So it was really this approach that I could actually speak from experience doing that. Yeah. And then I promoted also a few other ones this year, like last year, Selena Sue, like complements what I was doing, Natalie Sisson. So I was really just seeing what they were friends of mine. Some were even speakers on my first summit, and we just partnered. And Selena Sue and Natalie Sisson, they also become affiliates for me now and promoting my products. So it's just this win-win.
I brought you on, right? Because for me, I've already done it myself. I've seen the value. You actually approached me, and we talked about it, and you helped me out a little bit. So I know you know your stuff, and I had to get you on here.
Totally. I mean, that's how it works. And if you can speak from experience when you have, a product or anything, you're gonna see better results too. If you have an engaged audience, obviously they like what you are doing, and you can bring someone else to teach that, and you can speak from experience. Hey, I did that too. I actually implemented what this person is teaching. You'll see better results for sure with your affiliate promos. And last year I did over 6 figures just affiliates, and 6 figures on my own stuff. So it's just it's a great compliment to what I'm doing. And now obviously my courses and my offerings, they're kind of increasing, but at the same time it's not bad to make like 6 figures on affiliates. That's pretty cool.
Sure. So let's recap where we at. So you basically launched this branding summit that kind of brought you a massive audience that really trusted you, and at that point you started getting to the affiliate sales. For like Ramit's course, you'd be a bestseller for his best affiliate for his course, and then Serena Sue, and now you've kind of gone into selling your own course. And let's kind of talk about that now.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting how it evolved from my first summit. Yes, I launched a pilot and then kind of got it out there a little bit, delivered some training to some people, helped them out, got some clients too, and then obviously worked with Chandler Bolt. So he felt comfortable to hire me like for a partnership. So he went through my cheat sheet, this 7-step cheat sheet at first before he even hired me to work with him. And that's kind of how I refined it even more, working on, a really big project, which, I talked a little bit about. And then, I felt eventually comfortable to launch a course to the public teaching this, because I didn't really want to launch a course to everyone or a premium course where I just had my own experience. I wanted to have like case studies like Chandler, like, a lot of other people like Steph, in the health niche. She got 20,000 almost sign up for a summit and 500 plus sales, So I really wanted those case studies so I could show people, hey, didn't just work for me in my niche, in my industry. It actually works in literally any niche as long as you have it like an online kind of audience. It works for sure. And that's what I did with my course launching, last year in September. Got it out there, and did a pretty good launch. And now it improved. Like now it's kind of 2.0, because I've improved literally everything. Spent thousands and thousands of dollars, and just making this the best possible investment if you want to create your virtual summit.
Okay, that's so yeah, you mentioned positive results for your students. I wanted to talk about that. And
Sure.
so you have two students that you did one-on-one coaching with, or was
No,
it?
I mean, I did a few. Like they kind of like Chandler was more hands-on because he didn't have time like to go through everything. But it's literally the same thing. He invested 5 figures in like bringing me on board, and that's literally the same thing. Like that's in Virtual Summit Mastery. Just you have to go through it at your own pace. And I do depending on like what level. I have different tiers and stuff like that. You can get some support from me as well. Like that's the only way to get support from me, if you invest in one of the higher tiers of the program. So that's just one. And then I had a few other ones, but most people actually who are going through the program now, like Steph, for example, she did almost 20,000 opt-ins, and I think she did over 60,000 in sales for everything, with the All Access Pass and a few for her kind of coaching program. She just went through the program with excellence. That's it. Like she went through the program. She didn't have any calls with me. I mean, she just had a program pretty much. That's it. Like she didn't have me like implement the process for her.
So walk me through, like, if I'm a new student coming in, no experience, nothing coming in, how would it start off? And then don't tell me the whole course, obviously, but just tell me how would it start off, and how would you kind of approach it? How would a new person approach it?
Yeah, so it's very step by step actually. So I have it laid out. Obviously, I have a welcome video. I'm telling you, what to do. You go into the Facebook group. I have an amazing community. I mean, some people they are saying just the Facebook group is almost worth the price alone. I wouldn't say. I mean, I think the content is still stellar, but once you have that, you can also use the Facebook group a lot. Some of my VSM graduates, my program they are in there. They are providing support a lot. I'm also in there, obviously, but even more valuable, you can connect with your fellow peers and students. And then I have actually people approaching each other for being on each other's summits sometimes, and getting publicities. That's pretty cool. And also helping each other out. Let's say you are not good at interviewing or you want to get better, you jump on a call with one of your peers in the program, and that's really how you can establish friendship, but also getting better at this a crucial skill when it comes to doing a summit. And that's totally possible. I had people going into the program with no experience at all, and they are seeing great results. Like, yes, you might not get $300,000 in revenue, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that, but you can for sure get up to a few thousand subscribers for your first summit if you're starting out, and you can get 4 to 5 figures in revenue. I think that's totally possible for a first summit if you just follow it step by step and go through everything. And yeah, it's 10 modules in the program. So you just start like from literally the first step is just defining your profitable virtual summit theme. What is your summit going to be about? And I go through that. And then we walk through this positioning. We go to planning your summit. And then it's very, very step by step. It's like, and I also have actually a planner that's one of the things I wanted to mention. I have like a checklist, so you can like check off literally whatever you are doing, and that's including actually I think all levels of the program. So whatever level you choose, you get this checklist, and as you're going through, you can like check this off. Okay, I did this. It feels also good for you. I had some people, they printed this out. It was like kind of this dog-eared, like really beat up a checklist after they did their summit. But that's how you can build momentum and keep this pretty easy for you, even though there's a lot of hard work that goes into creating a great summit.
So I want to clarify two things for people. One is that this can really work with any industry, and two, like to leverage that network within the Facebook group to get your speakers on board. I think that's totally underrated because it's hard to find your first speaker maybe, but after that it gets rolling. So if you can use the community, people who are really already in that space to book a few speakers, then you get that momentum going, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the things you can do. Like maybe they're not. I'm not saying like everyone in the group would be a good fit to be a speaker on your summit, but they might know someone.
Yeah.
So if you're like struggling, you can like post that question. And actually, something I didn't mention, but that's if you're signing up for the cheat sheet, where can people find that if they want to check it out? By the way, you maybe can have your link for it.
Yeah. So I'll put the links below this video, and obviously if you're reading the blog post, it'll be in the blog post. So yeah, I'll definitely add it below the videos. All this
sure,
stuff.
And I can also have a link for you, so you can go to virtualsummitmastery.com/Imran. I think that they can just go there and check it out. This like the same approach Chandler used, to create his summit. Is the 7 steps. It's pretty much a good overview of what you can expect if you decide to join the program. Even if you do it yourself, you can get some value from this. And as we talked about in the Facebook group, you just you can post there anything pretty much. Like if you have a question about anything, or if you want to maybe get some introduction, some people might be able to do that. But the one thing I didn't mention is that I have actually 1-year summit speaker guarantee. So I actually guarantee that you will be able to get speakers on board, other than having kind of an action takers guarantee too if you join the program. So you can read more about that as I open up the course. But the 1-year summit speaker guarantee, I just did that because I'm so comfortable that you can get on and influencers to your summit if you just follow this system. I'm so confident you can do that. If you can't, I will personally help you out to get someone on board. If I can't, I'll refund you your full investment.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really good.
So that's how confident I am. I have people starting out, getting people like Russell Brunson, they're getting Ryan Levesque, they're getting some big names, but depending on what industry, obviously. But I have literally any niche pretty much. I have adoption, I have insurance, I have what else do I have? Like obviously online marketing, online business. I have a few of those. I have health and fitness.
On insurance, you said?
Yeah, I have insurance in my. How he's doing it? I mean, actually, as we are doing this call, he's just launching now. Actually, I don't have the full case study yet, but I do know that is so far. I think he's made over $20,000, like in revenue. Like that's just in the pre-launch phase, and getting thousands of opt-ins. Like at least I think he had last time I spoke to him over 1,000 people for the insurance. In like he's like gonna crush it in that industry now. Like because he's gonna have the go-to event. So let's say you're in a smaller niche. I've seen it working in scrapbooking. I've seen it working in calligraphy. I think something like that. It's just like out of this world. I don't know anything about it, but I know that I've seen people doing it in that niche and making a lot of money, 6 figures in some cases, actually. Cinematography, we talked about that. So it can work anywhere as long as you can find, obviously, some kind of online audience. I think that's it. And I think most industries right now, if not all, they have something like that. They have some influencers. And speaking of that, it even works for software companies. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit because Teachable, you might be familiar, teachable.com. Yeah. They're a venture-backed software company, multi-million-dollar company. And what they did a summit late, I think 2015, if I'm not mistaken, and they got 8,500 opt-ins and $300,000 in revenue. And their goal is not really to maximize for revenue. Their goal is to actually get people into their course software. That's their goal. Their goal is not to sell their all access pass and all that, even though they could do that too. Their goal is just to get more customers, to pay them on a monthly or a yearly basis for the Teachable software. So they did really well. You can just, this conversion rate is insane. And now they actually found so much success, so they're doing another one. So whether you're a software company, it can still work for you.
I was there, so it was awesome summit. I mean, like you said, there's a ton of people on the chats I saw, and 8,500 people is a lot in
Yeah,
a short
so
amount of
they,
time.
they did a live summit. So you can do live summits, you can do pre-recorded, or as I typically do like a hybrid, like a mix between pre-recorded and live. So I might have some live sessions during the summit, and then, you know, maybe a live hangout, a live closing, you know, presentation, something like that. And then maybe a few Q&As throughout, so you can build up the engagement. Teachable, what they did live entire, you know, summit, which worked great. And they had more of a, they were selling kind of, they were having like bundling up, you know, with the speakers' products, which is pretty cool. That's a cool way to add value to speakers too. I haven't done this myself, but I've seen it from, you know, Marissa Murgatroyd has done it in the online marketing space, now Teachable. So like bundling up speakers' products with, you know, the core offering, and then, you know, selling that, which is, I mean, I'm going to be speaker actually on the Teachable next summit. So I know that they have a really cool approach. I'm excited. You know, you can really get the speakers excited about it. I think that's important.
So what was I going to ask you? I forget now. It slipped my mind, but yeah. Oh yeah, in the course, do you kind of cover that kind of stuff where you discuss the different strategies to approach it? And
yeah, I mean, I think the main thing you can do, I definitely discuss like different, you know, when you're planning your summit, this is kind of the planning stage. Like, how do you set it up? How do you structure it? I think the easiest way to do it your first time around is to do pre-recorded and then mix up a few live ones. So I'm kind of going through this. I'm going to have, I have like case studies of other people, and also depending on what level, I have like something I call VSM insider sessions, where I kind of bring you behind the scenes. And it was that's more of one of the higher levels you can get. So you cannot get the high-end clients I'm working with. So we take you behind the scenes. You know, every once in a while, I, you know, jump on the call with, you know, the guy I'm partnering with and my affiliate manager, all that, and kind of bring you behind the scenes, just the, you know, conversation, so you can sit in on that, which cool. Is pretty cool. I just thought of a way to kind of incorporate what I'm doing in my business and bring it to you guys who's joining. You know, I think it's on VSM Complete level. You know, if you're joining there, then you get that insight as well, more of what I'm working on, more of the behind the scenes. But obviously everything is in the modules too, like really the step-by-step approach. If you just want maybe some newer strategies I'm testing out, see that behind the scenes, then it's you know, in the insider sessions.
And do you cover some of the technology as well? I know people always struggle with, you know, if they have no experience with the tech space, it's hard to like put all these things together. Do you go through all that?
Totally. And in all levels, you know, in the program, I do cover, for example, I have a, you know, how do you set up the interviews? How do you build your pages out? All that stuff. But I also have a separate tech vault. So I have some more stuff as people asking me, which is included in VSM Advanced and VSM Complete. So I have a little bit more there, like, you know, if, you know, let's say affiliate program. Otherwise, you know, for VSM Standard, as kind of the low tier, you have pretty much everything in the program. Is just some things you can read more about that as I open it up on the sales page.
Okay. And what are the one or two like must-see things in your course that people need to get into?
Oh wow, let me think. I do think, you know, one of the best features of the program is really, I mean, one of the best things is the planner. You know, if you just have that, you're gonna save yourself a lot of time. Honestly, that's one of the most favorite parts of the entire thing. Other than that, is people really enjoy also, you know, being able to participate in Q&A sessions. Obviously, we talked about the community, and I think that's important. Also, the VSM Vault is like my collection. I spent a lot of time to collect all of this. It's a lot of swipe copy and you know, all these things, like everything I include there, and that's in VSM Advanced and VSM Complete. So I include the VSM Vault, the VSM Swipe Vault, I call it, and it's just amazing. I've been spending, I don't know how many hundreds, if not 1,000 hours to like collect all of this, like really, you know, sign up to a lot of summits. Also my students, I include the entire self-publishing success summit. We've talked about this, the summit that generated multiple six figures and 30,000 opt-ins. I include all the swipe copy, not only for the summit itself, like the summit, the copy we sent out during the event, but also all the affiliate promotion, everything literally. That's an advanced, affiliate promotion we did, and I include all of that. Like that's what Steph did to, she just used that to get her almost 20,000 opt-ins for her first summit. She started that business from pretty much zero. She had some relationships, but overall she didn't have any subscribers on that. Maybe 62 subscribers she had when she started, but she got up to 20,000. Yes, the relationships helped, but she had this kind of approach. So speakers, they knew what to do. They shared it out with their audience. And I think it was just a good position summit.
I can say from my perspective of going through the process, I took a lot of time. I didn't know about your course at the time. And I really struggled with putting the technology together, getting the speakers on board. You have to like time everything correctly. And I think that was really a struggle for me. If I had a checklist in front of me, I know it would have been a lot just smoother,
I mean, imagine having it in step-by-step format. You can check off. Like you also feel good about it. It just builds some momentum. Like, oh yeah, I checked this off. Yes, there's a lot of things to do a summit well, but if you do it this way, it's just worth it. And you also can, do this again and again. I'm sure, Imran, you're gonna do maybe a new summit. Like
I'm gonna do like 5, man.
Yeah, he's gonna do like 5 of them. So
it's changed my business. Let's put it that way. It's literally like,
yeah.
I added 1,500 people to my list in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're just like what I've been doing. I've had people who built their list maybe up till, in my case, it was 18 months to 900,000 people or something like that. It was like very small list, like 1,000 people. Like I had other people who spent like even longer building a list of 1,000 to 2,000 people. And then their summit just grew the list with like 200%, or in some cases, even from, 100 people up to 2,000 people. So it's just, you can start from zero and still get good results. I mean, that's for sure. That's what I love.
I was shocked at the amount of people that came streaming in. So I'll definitely be doing more of them.
Awesome. I mean, I love them. I had some students, they're like, even they were even skeptical before they joined VSM at first. Like this woman, Steph, I've been telling you a little bit about here. She was skeptical. She was like, why should I do a summit? It's so crowded in the health and fitness industry. But she did something well. She positioned it. Obviously she joined, eventually she joined, at the last minute, kind of last time I opened it up. And she just decided to go all in. She was a little bit pissed at the other summits out there in the fitness industry. She wanted to do something better. And she did the Women's Strength Summit. So you can see how specific that is, instead of like rather being like a strength summit, or even worse, a fitness summit or something like that, just super broad. She did it specifically for women by women. That's super specific. If you're interested in aerobics, if you're a man, whatever, maybe you won't be as interested in this summit. You really, if you land on this page and you're interested in, strength, and you're a woman, you're going to sign up for the summit. You
probably the same thing about the SlideShare stuff, that it did well because I did really niche. And I think that's key for people coming in to figure out how to position yourself and your brand, right?
Totally. I mean, that's why I reached out to you in the first place. Like, SlideShare, really? I mean, this is cool. This is like super specific. I mean, you can really build, if you really want to build up an audience around a specific, very niche topic, you can do so. And in some cases, depending on the industry, you don't need like 30,000 people to sign up. It could be enough if you get a few hundred, maybe a few thousand, depends on the industry. But if you have let's say 600 people on your list from nothing, that's a big win. That's a big, massive win for you. Depending on the industry, you can build, even have multiple 5 to 6 figure business if you have a few hundred to 1,000 subscribers. That's for sure.
If you're like a broad topic as well, let's say you were doing like interior design or something like that, you can niche it down into smaller topics within that and do multiple summits, right?
Yeah, totally. I think that's good. And also another reason for niching down is that, let's say you're starting from scratch, it's just faster to position yourself as the go-to authority and expert in this industry if you do that. If you start broader, like, Ramit Sethi, for example, in the online business world, he's been doing it for a long time. He started actually very niche within personal finance, like kind of specific in there. And then he just getting broader and broader. Obviously, it was a little bit easier back then to start in personal finance because he was like 2004, but now he's like doing online business kind of, which is, for him, it works because he's built up this authority and credibility. But for someone starting from scratch and gonna do like, let's say, an online business summit, it's just way too broad. It's just way too broad. Don't do like online marketing summit. Go specific. Let's say live video or something like very specific where you can position yourself and you can see what's working right now. You can like see also in the program, have a list. I think it was 100 like successful virtual summit ideas or something you can model. So you can just see what other people did and like use that for, you know, for your own summits.
That's in your course as well, the 100 ideas?
Yeah, I include that. I mean, I have one version actually out for free, what is 50, so you can like check that out. It's we can include a link for that too. But you know, in the program I have like 100, and also I have some, you know, more case studies as well. I have case studies of students in the program, more you know, advanced stuff. We go into really how Chandler Bolt did it, how Steph did it. So I have case studies with them inside the program. So I just walk people through how they did it, include their resources and stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. This has been awesome, man. Thanks a lot for coming out. I appreciate it. And I think the link, I'll just add it right now. It's escapeyourdeskjob/VSM.
Okay, I think I mentioned /Imran, but okay, go to escapeyourdeskjob.com/VSM and you can check out my cheat sheet. I think that's good.
And I think your story kind of convinced me on all of your stuff. I really related to it, where you started with, you know, you're trying to get into this space for a long time, and then the summit kind of changed your perspective on things and what was possible with online businesses.
For sure. I mean, I appreciate it too.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for coming out, and hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any links are going to be below, and escapeyourdeskjob/VSM. All right, we'll talk soon, Navid.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Take care, buddy.